thou shalt not do stupid things and then blame someone else or some company for your own stupidity. Voting for what you as an individual feel is the right thing. There's a point where you have to stand up and take care of yourself. Why can't we secure our borders? They don't want to address the real problem. We were providing health care, room and board for someone the state's going to execute. I just happen to think that we as a country, as a people, and as individuals, we can do a little bit better. Hi, and welcome to this edition of the Bougie Side. As I sit and talk to you today, there's proposed legislation and there's also legislation that's passed that will increase the death benefits for soldiers killed in action as part of the conflicts we're currently engaged in. Now, some states are also looking at extending benefits and services to our military personnel. These benefits are a good start, but let's take a look at what we do with the members of our military. And I use the word do as opposed to for because our behavior towards the men and women that serve or that have served this country. By design, military service is dangerous. No matter if you're a reservist or if you're full-time, active duty person, it has the potential to place you or any man or woman in harm or life-threatening situations. Now, I'm fortunate enough to know a few people in the military and consider them as friends. We discuss our parents, we'll sit and talk about house, kids, car, job, just the plain old stuff that we talk about. But I'll tell you, after I'm done, I kind of stop and sit back and say, you know what? I'm kind of impressed. This person has decided to dedicate their life and possibly give their life so that I can continue with the freedoms that I get in this country. I stand impressed, and I think these people deserve preferential treatment. Now, one of the things I hear from a lot of young people when they join the military is, well, I'm old enough to die for my country, but I'm not old enough to buy beer. Well, guess what? There are a lot of other things that you're not going to be doing either. So go ahead and get ready. I'm going to kind of talk about it right now, okay? There are some good things. Veterans qualify for GI Bills. They get a lot of benefits. They get the GI Bill. That means they can go to school, get a college education. They also are eligible for VA loans. They can buy a house, get a loan with a significantly lower interest rate. There are also the veterans hospitals where they can receive medical care for low cost because, hey, they're a member of or they used to be a member of the military. And that's terrific. Sounds great, right? Well, recently, while engaged in a war in a foreign country, some of the members of the military contracted some never before seen disease. Now, it's happened a few times in our country's history when we've engaged in a war with another country where our members of the military get a disease. However, our government refuses to acknowledge that it even exists. And here, to make matters worse, there are a number of VA hospitals that really should be treating these illnesses that are scheduled to close. So I'm going to put this in perspective a little bit, and let me see if I can get this right. I'm a person who, say I've joined the military. I put my life on the line so that everybody can live free and, continue in this great democracy. However, now I've contracted some weird disease while I was out serving, and now my government won't acknowledge that I actually have the disease. Well, because of my illness, can't go to school on the GI Bill, and of course, without an education, you really can't get a job. Well, it didn't matter. I couldn't work anyway because of the illness, and therefore I can't get a VA loan, because there's one thing in this country, in order for you to get a home loan, whether you're a veteran or not, is you need a job. Oh, and the VA hospital near me has closed, and so I can't even get health insurance or anything like that, so I can't even get treated. Well, I guess it's not so bad. Since the government won't acknowledge the sickness in the first place, what do you need a VA hospital for? Now, I know this sounds kind of extreme. And looking at our nation's history, we actually have gotten better at how we treat the members of our military. Now, I'm not going to go into the atrocities and the disgrace on how we treated our military during Vietnam, because I think we all have a pretty good idea on how pathetic that was. But we shouldn't forget, and we shouldn't ignore the fact that we left some people behind and we really ought to go back and get them. Now, I will bring up the landlords and the corporations that choose to take up the position of not extending a helping hand to the men and women serving this country. Specifically the landlords that won't help them keep their business or their home or their property because they're out defending this country. I think that's kind of pathetic. Or even the corporations that when their employees get the notice that they're getting called back into active duty, their employers give them such a hard time and they give them so much grief, it's ridiculous. And oh yeah, how about this one? Now this one is the one that really got me. The corporations who say, we don't agree with the war, and so we're not going to sell products to the troops. So I'm not going to sell my coffee to you, or I'm not going to sell whatever product to you because you're a member of the military and you're fighting in a war that I don't agree with. What in the world are we doing? That has got to be one of the silliest positions I've ever heard in my life. Now, one thing we got to make sure we remember, and just in case we forgot, we're talking about the people, the men and women that protect our families, our homes, our way of life, and our whole system of living. You would think we would develop a system that would reward them, the members of the military, instead of creating hurdles that prevent them from being successful in our country. We need to help and protect the people that defend and protect us. Not when it's in vogue to put a ribbon on your car and drive around, but every day. And that's how I see it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. We need to help protect and support the people that defend and protect us. You take the money away from your own kids to rebuild someone else's country. How can a convicted criminal have it better than the ordinary working person? The U.S. right now is so determined to include everyone, it forgets the people who are here. Somehow the brightest minds in government thought of this plan. Has anyone from the White House or Congress taken a look at minority test scores? Make no mistake. I think the United States is the best country on the planet.